Hi there and welcome to another video from Hegarty Maths. It's Mr. Hegarty here, and in this video we are converting from standard form to ordinary numbers. Now before we get going, let's just talk about what we've previously learnt on Hegarty Maths. Do you remember what it means if a number is said to be written in standard index form? Well, hopefully you do know that a number is written in standard index form if it's of the form a some number multiplied by 10 to the power of n. Now it's important that a is a number that can equal 1 but must be less than 10. Okay, that's crucial. And n is what type of number? N is an integer. Now do you remember when we use standard form? Well, we use standard form when either we're talking about absolutely massive numbers, and that's when n is a positive integer, or where we're talking about absolutely small numbers, and that's when we use n being negative. So there's standard form. In the last video, we also learnt how to convert a number from ordinary into standard form. Do you remember how we did that? Pause and try it with these. Well, we had a quick way. We said that we're going to write down the non-zero digits, in this case the 5 and the 2. We're going to put our decimal point there because we know the first number a has to be less than 10, and we say times 10 to the power of, and all we have to do is count how many digits after the first non-zero one, the 5. And here there are 1, 4, 7 and 10. So it would be 5.2 multiplied by 10 to the power of 10. And in this case we would have written down the 7 and the 3, put a decimal point there, and all we've got to do is count how many digits before the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So times 10, not to the 7 but to the negative 7 because it's a small number. Now that's how you went from an ordinary number to standard form. Can you think how you might go backwards? What if someone asked you to go backwards? Can you think how you might go backwards there? So let me just hide this side of it. Can you work out how I would go backwards? Well, this is what I'd do. I would write down my 5 and my 2. I know it's a big number, okay? So I'm going to count 10 digits after the 5. 1, 2. Now wherever there's nothing there, you have to put a 0. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And now you can put your commas every 3 from the left, like that. And we would get ourselves 52 billion, which was what we had here. Let's try and do it with this one. We're going to write down our 7 and our 3, aren't we? Because it's negative, it's going to be a small number. So this 7 is telling us there's going to be 7 zeros before this digit here, this 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where does our decimal point go? After the first one. And as you can see, that is how you would go backwards. And that is the point of this video. We are now going to be given the standard form and going to be asked the ordinary number. And all we've got to do is what I've just showed you. So let's have a practice at that. Pause and have a go if you feel like you can do this. Otherwise I'll go through now. 6 multiplied by 10 to the 7. I'm going to write down my 6, and I know that I've got 7 digits after this 6. So I'm going to write in a 0 here because there's no other digits. So 1, 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, 4 zeros, 5 zeros, 6 zeros, 7 zeros. Put your comma every 3 from the left. Done. Next one. 6 multiplied by 10 to the negative 7. I know it's going to be a small number, so I'm going to write my 6 over here. And this negative 7 is telling me I have 7 zeros before this 6. 1 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, 4 zeros, 5 zeros, 6 zeros, 7 zeros. There you go. And your decimal point must go, that's right there. What about this one? Well, I'm going to write, it's a big number because it's to the positive 4. I'm going to write my 5, and I'm going to count myself 4 digits after that. 1, where I put a 0, 2, 3, 4, put your comma in there, and you're done. What about here? There's more than just one digit here. There's 6.2, 6.2, 5.13. Same applies, let me just show you how. 6.2, I'm going to write down my 6 and 2. I know it's a big number, so I'm going to count 7 digits after that 6. 1, there's already 2 there, don't write a 0. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And just put your commas in at the end. There you go, 62 million. Just like the case here when it was 60 million, other than the 2 here makes it 62 million. What about this one? I know it's -7, so it's going to be a small number. So I'm going to write my 6 and my 2 over here, and I'm going to count 7 zeros before the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where does my decimal point go? There. And the last one, 5.13 times 10 to the -4. So I'm going to write my 5, my 1 and my 3 over here. I'm writing it over here because I know it's a small number, and all I've got to do is count 4 zeros in front of the 5. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and my decimal point must go here. And there you go, that's me converting from standard form to ordinary numbers. Here's another question. Pause the video and have a go. Now this says write in ascending order. Ascending means going from the small up to the big. So we've just got to see how big each of these are. A good idea is to either write them all as an ordinary number or write them all in standard form. Let's write them in ordinary numbers. This here, I'm going to write my 6 and my 3, and I'm going to write myself, I'm going to count 5 digits after the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, comma goes there. This one's already an ordinary number, 63,000, so nothing to do. This one here, I'm going to write my 6, my 0 and my 5. I'm going to count 6 digits after the first one, this 6. 1, 2, 3, put a 0 in, 4, 5 and 6, and therefore this one is 6,050,000. Now I want to write them from smallest to biggest, so clearly that is the smallest, that one's the next smallest, and that one is the biggest. So I'm going to write 63,000 first. I'm going to write this one next, 6.3 times 10 to the 5, and I'm going to write this one last, 6.05 times 10 to the 6. And I can use an inequality sign. This one is less than this one is less than this one, and I'm done. Let's try another question. Pause the video, have a go. If we're writing in descending, we're going from the biggest first down to the smallest. So let's write all of these as ordinary numbers. Here we've got a small number, write the 6 and the 3 and count 3 zeros before it. 1, 2, 3, put your decimal there. This one is already an ordinary number, fine. And this one here, write your 605 and 3 zeros in front of it, put your decimal point there. Now if you're trying to compare them, it's easy with decimals to write them on top of each other, so I'm going to write this one underneath, 0.063, and I'm going to write this one underneath that, 0.000605. Now comparing the columns, you can clearly see that the red one's the biggest because it's got 6 hundredths and the other two don't. So the biggest one is certainly 0.063, that one which we've done. And then if we compare the next column, they've both got 6 thousandths in it, so they're both the same in terms of that number. But then if we compare the next column, this one's got 3 10,000ths, this one's got no 10,000ths, so this one is certainly bigger. So this is the next one I'm going to write. Now this one was from here, so I'm going to write 6.3 times 10 to the -3, and the last one I'm going to write therefore 6.05 multiplied by 10 to the -3, and we're done there. Okay, let's try one more. If 6.845 times 10 to the 17 was written out in full, how many zeros would follow the 5? Well, a little problem for you there. You know when you're writing this out that you would write out 3845, wouldn't you? And you would count 17 spaces from the 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 are already counted, so to go another, to have 17 after the 3, you would only count another 14. So we know there are going to be 14 zeros. I don't have to write them out, but the answer therefore is 14 zeros. A little challenge there for you. And the last one, just like that. Pause and have a go. If 3.845 times 10 to the -9 was written out, how many zeros would be between the decimal point and the first significant figure? We know if we were writing that out, we would write 3845, and we would have how many zeros before it? 9, wouldn't we? I'm not going to write them all out, but the first one would have a decimal point in it. Now it asked us how many zeros between the decimal and the first significant figure, which is 3, therefore the answer is 8 zeros. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.